572-0383 and 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
Join Dr. Leonard Surage on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1 FM Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. for Doctor in the House. This 1-hour discussion call-in program delves into the science of various diseases, treatments and medical processes, and offers in-depth explanations to empower listeners and help ensure a better understanding of healthcare for all. So tune in on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. for Doctor in the House with Dr. Leonard Surage, only on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1 FM. And Doctor in the House is brought to you with the compliments of Laplace Salison and also by Tapia Hospital.
At Tapia Hospital, caring and competent obstetric consultants will see you safely from prenatal care through delivery with a team of excellent pediatric and anesthetic support. Tapia Hospital, where the patient safety comes first.
It's delicious.
Laplace Salison is the true home of quality meat and deli products, selected and priced to suit every palate and pocket. We sell all cuts of meat, poultry and fish, from tasty lamb necks and succulent pork chops to lean dolphin and juicy top round steaks. Our deli items include turkey, ham, bacon, pork sausages, meat patties, chicken nuggets, deli ham and eggs, so that breakfast or that party is a breeze. And for your added convenience, we sell restaurant essentials and grocery items. So where's your next meal coming from? Laplace Salison, of course. Laplace Salison, Castries, Groselet, Beaufort, and Soufrière.
It's delicious.
It's now time for Doctor in the House, hosted by Dr. Leonard Surage. Dr. Surage, a very good evening to you.
Good evening, Andre. Good evening, listeners. Good evening, viewers. Welcome to Doctor in the House. Today, Tuesday, 27th of May, 2025. How this year is running so fast. You're listening on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1. We are streaming live on radio, on Facebook, your favorite platforms, YouTube and X. Today, I'll be talking about, we'll go on a journey of self-discovery. I call the topic, Know Yourself, from a philosophical perspective. And the theme basically is to go over what our personality is like, who are we, and how we can improve ourselves and how we can discover ourselves. It sounds like a little theoretical, but as I get into it, you realize that it applies to everybody. And while it would be a very interactive thing, if I can make it like that, so I would encourage you to participate and join by calling 572-9710, that landline, 572-9710, or your WhatsApp, which is 287-0971.
I gather from the topic tonight, know Yourself, there's a sort of implication there that we don't know ourselves.
Well, it is, or we are not trying hard enough to know ourselves. And because if I were to ask you, Andre, what's your name? Then you'd tell me Andre Paul, and I would tell you, well, so sorry, if I was to ask you, who are you? You'll tell me you're Andre Paul. Then that is just a name. You could have been named anything. You could have been named John Blokes. So the name does not really truly describe you. It may give you some genealogy, or it might give you an idea of what lineage you come from. But our names are so common that even that cannot work. So by telling me your name does not give me an insight into you. And I think that...
But even if I were to say, or start saying something about who I think I am, that'd be a very long story.
Well, it is. It will be a long story, but we need that story, because in that story will come, why are you... Do you think you have a purpose of being on earth? Or do you have a purpose of being born? Do you think you're born like a cow that will eat grass and until they get to your slaughter? Or do you think that there is a purpose in your life and you're searching for it? And that you live with other human beings and develop some understanding of living together with people? So we'll get into the meat of it later on, but this is the direction we are going with it. So basically, who are you is not only about your name, it's about trying to get into your personality. What are your likes and dislikes? What do you like? Because what you like is intimately connected to your sense of value. Right? You may like loud and aggressive people. You may like people who are very calm, composed, and not ruffling you up. You may be a very sensitive person and cannot take the noise and cannot take the aggression. So we have to know ourselves, and we have to find out, to discover ourselves, who we are, what we like. Because somebody can ruffle you up because you are short fused in some way or the other and didn't know, or you didn't avoid that person, because not all of us are the same, and therefore if you know you have a low tolerance for aggression, you avoid loud and aggressive people, but you don't tolerate it. For example, if you're trying to get out of, say, alcohol, you're trying to win yourself out of addiction. When you're sober, you don't go in a bar and sit down where the guys are drinking, because you're just going to make it worse. So similarly, if you try and know yourself a little better, you may make more sense and benefit more from living. Okay.
Let me ask you a good question. Is it possible that a person, whether male or female, could become so successful at what they're doing, you're known the world over as this great inventor or something, whatever the case may be, right? And is it possible that that's not what you were meant to be?
How would you know what you're meant to be?
Well, exactly.
Right.
Well, exactly.
So, but what you
isn't that all part of knowing yourself?
Right, and that's right, knowing yourself. So, therefore, you would have an idea by how the way your spirit resonates with things. Although I use the word spirit, which I may have difficulty explaining what a spirit is, but I'm going there. So there are some things you naturally feel comfortable with, and there are some, just like people, you meet somebody and as if your chemistry just meet. And there are other people that the moment you see them, or the moment you interact with them, you realize that they're not you're not comfortable with them, because they may be too loud, or they may be too insultive, or they may be too sarcastic, and you can't deal with that. So I think that the initial thing about what you're meant to be is what you're comfortable with. And of course, as you well know, there are some people who are very good at numbers. I know I have a friend, he used to work with Port Authority, and this guy would remember car numbers. He just rattled them out. Car numbers and telephone numbers. So he has a knack for numbers, and some people are like that, the way their brain is circuited. So to some extent, when the kind of qualities you are born with, sometimes you may have a lot of talent that has been never put to the test.
Exactly.
And sometimes they get put to the test very late in your life, where you've spent a lot of energy on other things. But
that's what I was that's the same question I'm asking you. Remember I said to you a while ago, could you be really, really good at something that you think, hey, this is my calling, this is where I'm supposed to be. You're convinced of that. But then maybe it was meant to be something else. Some, as you said, some latent qualities that you have, talents and abilities that you have, and you never tried to discover them. But here you are doing something completely different to what you were really, really, as you said, you were made for. That's what you had. That's what you had. That's a tough one, Dr. Surage. So I'm a good student, so I'm listening.
You're listening. So I think that we have to know ourselves from that end and begin to look at the opportunities that will bring us in line with what we are comfortable with. If you are good at remembering things, maybe you should get into an area where your memory is called to question, because we usually look at memory and equate it with intelligence. It may not be so at all, because you can be intelligent and don't have this fantastic memory of remembering everything, but your analysis, your thinking, the way you arrive at answers, the way you actually respond to issues in your environment, catastrophes, emergencies, that calls for intelligence. And so an intelligent person may not be somebody who can rattle the times table 1 to 12, 1 to 14. It may be there are other aspects of intelligence that we downplay.
I was having a discussion, I think was it yesterday, we were talking right here about Dr. Kenny Anthony. As you know, he's called it a day as far as the political.
I didn't hear all of it, but I heard most of it.
The political life is concerned. He's called it a day. He said his mind is made up. That's it. And you know, last Friday, one of his comrades was speaking very, very kindly in glowing terms about Dr. Anthony. And one thing that he kept saying is that he's brilliant. He's a brilliant individual, highly intelligent, you know, and very smart and so on, very clever. And I remember I said to him, I said to him, no, it wasn't him. I was talking to somebody else. I said, I wonder, with all that brain power, was that quote unquote wasted on a political career when maybe he could have been doing something so much better or greater?
You're quite right. You're quite right. And maybe he would have, obviously, whatever he did intellectually would have been, he would have been doing it very well.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
Because I remember when he was doing his masters, etc., and they were thinking of, well, they had offered him a PhD from a master's program.
Wow.
That excels everything I know of.
Wow.
So he's obviously.
Can you repeat that, Dr. Surage? He was offered.
Well, I think he had done a master's degree at university.
Yes.
When he submitted it, and they said, well, if you change a few of the chapters, that is a PhD material. I mean, that's almost unheard of. That's how brilliant the man is.
Wow, exactly. And I was just wondering, was that his calling? Was that what he was, you know, as you said there?
Yeah.
Why were you born? Was that what
I think his calling may have been to help his country. Now, you know, when you're in politics, half of the time, people don't like you, or people may not subscribe to your thoughts just because of the party you're in.
Yes.
So, I mean, politics is divided land. Politics and religion, I find these two mostly based on alliances, etc. So, but I am saying there that he could have been as good if he had done anything else. That's how good the man is. And so, but maybe service to mankind has its problem, it has its other side, and especially politics. There'll always be a group that may not understand things the way you do, and that's politics. Yeah. So,
okay.
Back to our question.
So before you get into it, Dr. Surage, we need to take a break.
We do, okay. Well, as you said, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but all right, we'll take a break.
All right, come back in just a moment.
Yes.
This is Doctor in the House live on Rev-Up Slu with the compliments of La Place Alizor and Tapia Hospital.
Tapia Hospital Radiology Department offers 24-hour service. We provide you with X-ray, CT scans, and ultrasound imaging using the most modern equipment that produces the best images for your medical attention. Call the radiology unit at 459-2201. Tapia Hospital, where the patient safety comes first.
It's delicious.
La Place Alizor is the true home of quality meat and deli products, selected and priced to suit every palate and pocket. We sell all cuts of meat, poultry and fish, from tasty lamb necks and succulent pork chops to lean dolphin and juicy top round steaks. Our deli items include turkey, ham, bacon, pork sausages, meat patties, chicken nuggets, deli ham and eggs, so that breakfast or that party is a breeze. And for your added convenience, we sell restaurant essentials and grocery items. So where's your next meal coming from? La Place Alizor, of course. La Place Alizor, Castries, Rosalie, Beaufort, and Soufrière.
It's delicious.
This is Doctor in the House live on Rev-Up St. Lucia. So it's back to you, Dr. Surage.
Thank you, Andre, and thank you, listeners, for staying tuned. The number to call is 572-9710 on the landline, and the WhatsApp 287-0971, just in case you want to make a contribution or you want to join the discussion, because it's going to be very interactive, and we're just discussing people, and we are discussing the personalities, and do you have any particular skills or any particular talent that you are not discovering. And so especially for young people who have not settled in a career yet and not knowing what to do, don't have an aim in life, don't have an ambition yet, are not driven to anything, have not developed a passion for anything, these are the people that I am targeting mostly, and those who want to understand themselves better. Well, because you may have certain traits that get triggered and don't know until something happens. So if you know yourself well enough, you can know which discussions to get into, what to avoid, how to progress your life, who to listen to. And generally speaking, if you want to progress, you have to be among the people that are progressive. And so the vibes there will be the vibes that will lead you somewhere. If you want to get rich, look for a rich man and ask him, how did you get rich? And
you think he'll tell you?
Oh, he'll tell you. See, they will tell you. There's a little book called the Richest Man in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
A small book.
I read that.
You're right. Okay.
I read it.
And it says that I don't think generally people are so selfish as we think they are. If you don't pose a threat to them, they will tell you how they manage. Like most doctors will tell you how to get trained and so forth, etc. So I think that generally you cannot just remain eating, sleeping, living day by day, not making any progress, not going anywhere, not doing anything, not becoming anything. And so therefore I think that you need to develop an understanding of yourself, develop a master plan as to where you're going, etc.
You know, what you just said there fell into the plates about a lot of people. As you said, they're not going anywhere, not doing anything, just surviving.
Yeah, and sometimes living parasitically.
Exactly.
Because if you eat and drink and you're not providing for yourself, somebody else is providing it, because you're not dying.
Mm-hmm.
And that somebody may be a brother, a sister, family, friend, whatever, but you're feeding off somebody. And I think part of the discussion is that try and make yourself self-sufficient. Be independent. You cannot perpetually rely on somebody to feed you or to take care of you. And
what you're saying is true, Dr. Surage, because we saw that demonstrated quite clearly recently with the tariffs that President Trump introduced, where he was going neck and neck with China. And China was the only country who stood up to him. Why?
That's right.
Because China is in a position where they can stand up.
That's right.
But everybody else is just cowering. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he had to back off.
He had to back off. That's right.
Yeah. So in your personality, you have to find out a little more about yourself. Are you easily to get angry? And you have to find out what makes you mad, right?
Well, I found that out a long time ago.
What makes you mad? What makes you angry? You have to have a position on certain things that happen in the world. And are you easy to forgive somebody? Are you a forgiving person? Are you analytical? In other words, when you see a piece of news, and we are very bad at that, you hear something, you're already taking sides on before you understand the issue. So we must clean up our mental process, think a little more rationally.
You know, Dr. Surage, what you say is so true. Again, just a couple of days ago, you saw the U.S. president trying to humiliate the South African
That's right.
president with fake news, basically. He didn't do his homework. Whoever
Well,
gave him the information, I guess he just gobbled it up, thinking that it must be correct.
it's just from his head. And because right and wrong means nothing, to that guy. So
Imagine that. Imagine you have almost to the point of embarrassing this world leader
yeah.
with misinformation.
And
I would say it's disinformation. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But Hay is like he was so sure that he had the man where he wanted him, and it was just all based on. And funny, he accuses people of fake news. Huh?
So, but basically, you invite somebody to your country, to your establishment. I think this person is a guest and must be treated with a certain amount of honor and a certain amount of respect. You cannot use the opportunity to humiliate the person.
Yes.
And so, again, this ties into what I'm talking about, personality. You have to know the people you're dealing with, know their personality, etc. And you yourself must know what you can tolerate and what you cannot. For example, if I ask you, do you have any biases? What you'll tell me?
Me?
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Is it based on a rational thought process, or it is based on whimsically I just don't like that person? And I don't want you to answer that.
But no, I could have a bias towards my family. I could have a bias.
Preference.
Yeah, what do you call it? Preference or whatever.
Well, a bias would have been more to do with everything being equal. I just take that one. But my family is my family. I have to give them priority. So that's different. So, and the bias is when everything is stuck together, and then you decide that you're going to choose that one for reasons that are not, maybe not logical, or maybe it is that's not fair. It may be biased because of race, because of religion, because of other things, and not because. So you may give somebody a job as your assistant because they are either religious or politically they are your favorite. However, they may not be able to do the work as well as somebody else, and that's why the bias is. So
Exactly. So because it's my family, and if I have to give a job, there's one job available.
Yeah,
It's either I give it to my brother or I give it to a stranger.
that's right. Well, the bias have to have its reasonableness.
His limits.
Yeah, and of course, and on subjects of things like faith-based issues, people must develop their understanding of their relationship with their God, if they have a God. I say a God because, I'm looking at very globally different religion, different practices, etc. But I think also that you must have an understanding of politics if you are living in a social society, because politics is about running government and providing all the things that we take for granted, the electricity, the road, the schools, the health, etc. The governments provide that. So therefore, you cannot say you're turning your mind away from politics. You may not like how things are being done, but politics is administration of the country to provide for us. So you, in your discourse, you must reflect on understanding politics and being able to discuss it in a rational way, of course. And similar to religion, what relationship you have with your God, and do you perceive God as outside of you watching you, or inside of you controlling you? So these are the questions that, to discover yourself, these are the questions you must ponder on and look for some kind of answers for them. And because many people, because you're not a cow, you're not a rabbit or anything, you are born for a purpose, and then you are living in society. You have to be respectful to society, and you have to have an understanding of how to deal with different people. how to deal with the beggar, how to deal with the child, the helpless child, how to deal with people who are incapacitated, how to deal with the elderly walking on a little stick crossing the road. Are you going to run your car close and stop by him to rush him? Or are you going to respectfully let him cross because he was like you at some point? And so we have to be a little more compassionate towards people who have seen their days and on the point of retiring. And so you must not see them as a nuisance on the road. And similarly, there are many people in Castries begging. Every time you pass by KFC, you see one sitting out there, etc. We do not know their circumstances. We do not know if they just piling. And I've been hearing that some of them have a lot of money. They are beggars. They accumulate their money, and so they have. Well, I myself don't know who is which, so I cannot say I have a clear idea what to do. But if I have some change, I give them. But maybe that's not a good thing because you create bad habits. So we have to develop in our mind how we're going to deal with issues like that, issues like the ethical aspect of things. So as you are living your day-to-day life, you must ponder on these things, these social issues, to find out where do you lie, how are you interacting with these. So that is what I think. As we grow, we must engage these thoughts and develop our own thinking about it, and our own thinking about how do we interact with people at the workplace. Because I believe that if you have a flawed personality, whether you are at work, whether you are at home, whether you are on the playing ground, you will demonstrate these same traits. Say, supposing you are aggressive, supposing you are dishonest, the dishonesty will show through in the different areas. And so
Dr. Surage, all what you say in there sounds really beautiful, right? But how does one develop those character traits, right? As you said a while ago, to showing care and compassion and respect and this sort of thing. How does one? Is this something that it has to be? Somebody has to teach you that sort of thing, or is it incumbent upon each individual to learn those things on their own? Because if it is something that we need to do for ourselves, you have to ask yourself why aren't more people doing it? And if it is up to your parent to pass it on to you, how can your parent pass on to you something that maybe they don't even have themselves? So I'm asking you a question now, and we'll answer that question after we take the break.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you develop those traits, and how do you convince yourself that these are traits that you need to develop in your character, in your makeup? Because for some people, being mean is a cool thing. Right? So we'll get back to that in a second.
All right.
So this is Doctor in the House.
You have my work cut out for me.
With Dr. Leonard Surage, with the compliments of La Place Salazar and Tapio Hospital.
At Tapio Hospital, we operate a 24-hour emergency service for all your urgent healthcare needs. Our qualified medical specialist will be on hand to ensure that you receive the best of care. Call us at 459-2617. Tapio Hospital, where the patient safety comes first.
It's delicious.
La Place Salazar is the true home of quality meat and deli products, selected and priced to suit every palate and pocket. We sell all cuts of meat, poultry and fish, from tasty lamb necks and succulent pork chops to lean dolphin and juicy top round steaks. Our deli items include turkey, ham, bacon, pork sausages, meat patties, chicken nuggets, deli ham and eggs, so that breakfast or that party is a breeze. And for your added convenience, we sell restaurant essentials and grocery items. So where's your next meal coming from? La Place Salazar, of course. La Place Salazar, Castries, Rosalie, Beaufort, and Soufrière.
It's delicious.
This is Doctor in the House live on Rev-Up St. Lucia. So back to you, Dr. Surage.
Okay, Andrew, thank you. Thank you, listeners, for continuing to listening to the program.
Let me just give the numbers.
Yep.
The fixed line is 572-9710. Fixed line is 572-9710. Or you can WhatsApp 287-0971. The WhatsApp platform is 287-0971. Once you call in, we'll take the calls. All right?
All right. Okay, back to your question.
Yes,
sir.
Dr. Surage.
Now, there is a thinking that people, good and bad is something that either you have it or you don't, that you're born with it. I believe that when you're growing up, parents put a certain amount of discipline in you and teach you a certain amount of ethics based on what they know.
Mm.
The ethics of the day is what is currently being practiced in the community in which you are. So your sense of value, your perception of right and wrong, your understanding of sin, your understanding of badness, are all things that your parents and people around you teach you.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So you're saying at some point in your life, you will be taught those things somewhere along the way, somehow.
Somehow you'll pick up something.
Yeah. Mm.
Either it is instructed to you or that you pick it on the way. And if you didn't pick it, then you develop personalities that are a little more antisocial or disrespecting society. So you can see the people who have had more of this kind of training are usually more amenable to society than those who had no training at all and left to their own device. So they become more selfish, they become more aggressive, they become more self-centered, they become more careless about the feelings of others, that kind of thing.
Mm. So you're saying despite the fact that some way along your life, somebody will say something to you, or you can pick up certain messages, right? That's a certain type of behavior is wrong. But you're saying that you don't necessarily have to accept it or respond to it. Is that what you're saying? You don't have to?
No. What I'm saying is that your sense of value, your perception of right and wrong, will be inculcated in you growing up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you have the parents that will tutor you.
But even if you don't have the parent, wouldn't a teacher, a neighbor, somebody?
Right. Yeah, they will do that.
Yes.
So you'll get some input from a variety of sources that will help to shape your life.
Right.
Okay. So therefore, the different kind, apart from the genetics, the different kind of person you become will be influenced by your early exposures, how they teach you right and wrong, and empathy and sympathy and that kind of thing. Now you can see societies where the child being brought up with very few guidelines and not having the parenting, they may come out a little less concerned about others, a little less compassionate. So, but that is what the environment brought them. Now, these can change when they grow up, and they say you take somebody who didn't have that kind, the benefit of that kind of upbringing, came out rough, came out in the streets and didn't have much, and only fend for himself, aggressive, steal where he can.
Right.
So you may find that a situation may change where he is with somebody who influenced him. He may begin to change. So there's nothing that is fixed.
Okay.
But some of them will continue and be what society, and we are not. We have no absence of these people in society. There are quite a few.
Yes.
And so the tremendous importance of the early development can actually alter these things. And I think we have discussed before, and you've told me that how about those who do not have these facilities? Well, they will be part of what bodily harbors and part of a boys' training school or wherever they are.
It's a sad reality.
Yeah, that's a sad reality.
You have a call, by the way.
Oh.
Yes.
Hello.
Andre. Good evening, Doc.
Good evening.
Good
sir.
evening, our friend.
Yes.
Okay, Doc.
Let me hear you.
Yeah, thanks for accepting my call.
No problem.
Okay. Doc,
Talk to me.
you're talking about knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes it takes someone else to know yourself for you, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay? Now, somebody came to mind. Mother Teresa.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, before she became, I think she was a
Saint.
teacher before.
Yeah.
And now you can say her calling, or who she was meant to be, was what she became at the end of her life.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might say if she had stayed in the teaching profession, she might not have known like she's known in India there, helping the orphans and whatever.
Yeah.
You believe that?
I believe that. And
Okay, so,
Go ahead.
So, in that stage, somebody like Mother Teresa,
Mm-hmm.
do you believe somebody who gave her this idea, or she just had this thought in her mind on what she saw as she grew older?
I think usually they develop these things as they grow. They have a certain personality. Maybe they want to help. They want to help the unfortunate people of low circumstances, and they gravitate towards helping out and become selfless. So they put very little effort on themselves as much as helping others. So they're not looking for personal wealth.
Okay, because I believe if she had stayed in her teaching job, nobody would have known her.
Well, maybe because the teaching did not allow the avenue that she would have pursued in teaching would not have taken her there. You're right. And
because Doc, you can have a skill. You can have a skill in a profession, in a certain profession or in a trade, and you cannot be success.
yeah.
And you might not be success.
Mhm.
But you might not have a skill in another thing, and you'll be successful in the thing you don't have the skill in.
Well, that is partly opportunity and luck, but
Luck? You say luck?
Yeah.
So luck. Okay.
You don't believe in luck? Anyway,
Yeah.
Luck have its place.
Okay.
It have its place. We can't explain, but it has its place. But what I'm saying is, you may start in one profession, but as you gravitate and as opportunities present itself, you may branch into other areas, because it's a journey that you are taking in life, a journey of progressing. If your passion is to help others, you will that journey, any opportunity where you find an opportunity to help others, you will go into it, and it will lead you to higher and higher activities that you're doing. So I think that you're not looking at an individual circumstances. You're looking at a journey that you take, a journey of discovery of yourself, discovery of your mission and your vision, to see where you're going and what makes you happy.
But to me, Doc, on your own, it might be a little difficult. If you just have to stay in your little niche and think of yourself, of what you want to do, where you want to go, to me, it might not be possible. You must go out and to get that.
Well, of course, I mean, you're not staying in a little room, because what you do is that when you engage in doing things, you choose the areas that will take you where your comfort zone is. Okay, so you enjoy helping people, and you don't mind if you don't have for yourself to help people. You can't stay in your room, huh? You
Because
cannot
look, when
stay.
you go out, you meet more than one person that will give you different ideas, different ideas, and sometimes you take one and you get bust, and you say maybe if I had followed this other one, I would be success. So,
Yeah, but
so it's a real challenge for the human being. It's a real challenge.
you think so? Well,
Yeah.
I think the discovering yourself or discovering who you are and what are your likes and dislikes.
But Doc, to me, you need other people around you to discover yourself. You need people around you.
Well, yes,
All type of people, different people to discover yourself.
You can't sit in your little room and discover yourself. It is when you are being exposed to different environment, then the choices that are posed to you and the choices you make will begin to define you. You understand?
Yes, sometimes you make. Okay.
So you get to a situation where you decide, man, I have $10 left, and either I go and blow it today, or maybe use it to take the bus to go to work tomorrow. And your better judgment tell you, man, I'll save that money. So these are the decisions in life you make. So every interaction, opportunities will present itself, and you will find ways where you are expressing your inner thoughts and your inner likes and dislikes, which you didn't know at all. But I agree with you that this cannot be done at home in your secluded space. You have to be interacting with people. You have to be.
My last question, Doc. Doc, to know yourself or to find who you are and know yourself better, do you believe you have to confess to other people?
No, you don't really have to. Confession is a kind of forgiveness you're looking for and a fresh start. So if the few things you did are in your mind that you committed a sin of some sort. Now we're getting into religion now.
No, I'm not going to religion. The
Okay.
reason why I asked you that, Doc, and I don't want to hold the line too long.
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, Doc, let's say I am working. Now, when I get paid, I go to a bar, I spend my money, I don't bring any money home to my girlfriend.
Good.
Now, if I go to a friend and I tell a friend, look, man, I have this problem, When I get paid, I don't bring money home. I go in a bar and spend all my money. That's a form of confession, Doc. You agree with that?
Yeah. But the confession, when it actually make you recognize you've sinned or you've committed something that's not good, and it actually make you, it relieve you of the guilt and give you a fresh start, so you can decide you can not do it again. But if you carry the burden of that sin all the time, it will make you more hopeless. But if you let go of it and take a fresh start, you're more likely to follow the better path. So in that way, it helps.
Okay.
And so it's just freeing your mind and freeing up yourself and
so
starting.
that's why
up.
I say you need somebody, you need people.
Yeah, I agree with you. You cannot be on a course of discovering yourself. You sitting alone.
Right.
Okay. It's not. It is circumstances that make you develop, not you sitting there and think.
Okay.
Okay, and the decisions you make. All right. Okay. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, this is Doctor in the House live on Rev-Up St. Lucia, brought to you with the compliments of La Place Salazon and Tapia Hospital.
At Tapia Hospital, we operate a 24-hour emergency service for all your urgent healthcare needs. Our qualified medical specialist will be on hand to ensure that you receive the best of care. Call us at 459-2617. Tapia Hospital, where the patient safety comes first.
It's delicious.
La Place Salazon is the true home of quality meat and deli products, selected and priced to suit every palate and pocket. We sell all cuts of meat, poultry and fish, from tasty lamb necks and succulent pork chops to lean dolphin and juicy top round steaks. Our deli items include turkey, ham, bacon, bacon, pork sausages, meat patties, chicken nuggets, deli ham, and eggs. So that breakfast or that party is a breeze. And for your added convenience, we sell restaurant essentials and grocery items. So where's your next meal coming from? La Place Salazar, of course. La Place Salazar. Castries, Groselet, Beaufort, and Soufrière.
It's delicious.
Welcome back to Doctor in the House live on Rev-Up St. Lucia. Dr. Surage is back to you.
Thank you very much, and listeners, thank you for remaining on the line and watching.
Let's just go back to something you're talking about before you took the call.
Yeah.
Am I understanding you correct? Are you saying that a person will discover his or her destiny, true destiny, right? Based on their thoughts, their passions, the things that they like, all right? Their strengths or weaknesses, and that because of those things that are going on in your head at the moment, that you will either and those things I'm talking about could be good or bad, right? And are you saying that because of what's going on in your mind, like I think the caller mentioned Mother Teresa, maybe she was thinking about serving children or something like that. These things were going through her mind, and I guess she was probably internalizing all that, and maybe even imagining what it would be like, what she could do, maybe asking herself, what could I do if I had the ability? Are you saying that because of those thoughts, whether those thoughts are good or bad, that it will lead you now into a certain path, a certain direction that your life will gravitate to? That could lead you now to on your destination, or your
downfall.
Exactly, where you're meant to be, and that meant to be could be, is there a downfall at Bodilay or something like that, right? Is that what you're saying, Dr. Surage?
What I'm saying is,
because what other way could somebody discover what they were meant, why they were meant to be here? What other way, unless you're not thinking something, you're not passionate about something?
Well, this is basically what I was saying. However, what I want to say is that and I was saying before, it's a journey. It's a journey of life you're going through, and you would have an idea of what you resonate with and what you don't. In other words, what you like and what you don't like. Like and dislike can start from early, from your bringing, that develop your sense of value. But this sense of value can also change as you read, as you get exposed, as you see things, and as you begin to realize that the way you think about certain things, you are not abnormal. Maybe that's how you want to be. So your value system will push you in the direction that when you get exposed to options, you will choose the option that resonate with your value system.
Yes, I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so these are the things that define you, and that's why it's called a journey. Okay, it's not just a one-shot thing. And even you, at some point in your life, you may have been thinking one way of certain things. Maybe the beggars on the road, they are a nuisance. And maybe afterwards, when you get a little more mature, you realize maybe they're a victim of circumstances.
Now, you said something earlier. You said luck does play its part.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with you. I'm not saying you're right, but I think I agree with you. Because let's go back to what you said earlier concerning the person who does not have someone in their life to guide them in a proper direction. That would be a case of bad luck. You just happened not to have somebody who's a good mentor to you. It's just bad luck. It just happened that way.
Yeah.
Right? And unless, and I think you said so earlier, that you now don't come to a realization for yourself. Okay? So whatever was inculcated into your mind as a young person, I guess this is where, as you said earlier, will lead to the body lay and the this and that and the other.
That is right. And so if you want to ameliorate or to reduce all the different stresses that we have and all the different demands that are made on the health service on the educational service, on the security service, then if you have a plan to concentrate more on the children, the first 10 years of their life, although most people think it's the first 6, the first 10 years of their life, and create a comprehensive plan to see them being exposed to better environment. You may, at the end of 10, 15 years, create a society that is a little more law-abiding, a little more easy to cope with.
Mm-hmm. You have another call, by the way.
Hello.
Good evening to all.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Very, very important subjects, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All is well?
Oh, all is well, of course. After I speak on a few things, I think that will contribute towards the, the subject tonight.
We appreciate that very much.
Of course. All right. Now, I will indulge in a few things, just try and touch on a few things quickly. Getting to know who you are and finding out the person in you. I'll tell you something. I know you, Andre, and the listeners, also myself. Remember, we all went to school one way or the other. Some of us didn't finish. But I know for sure when the teacher asks you, Dr. Surage, Andre, and myself, and the listeners out there, what you'd like to be when you grow up. I know all classes had that thing of they would point to you and all the class will actually say what they would like to be when they grow up. And I'm sure, Dr. Surage, when they ask you, Andre and myself, what we want to be, can you remember what you said?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what you said?
I know exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And I know exactly what I said. So did we become whatever we said that we wanted to be?
I did.
You did?
Actually, I was thinking
like
of
that.
doing agriculture.
I like the
Agriculture. But see, yes, I was thinking of agriculture.
Right.
To be
You see that?
agricultural cadet. Yeah.
Good. So whatever I say I wanted to be, that's not what I am. But I'm so happy that you mentioned to the previous caller that you said that circumstances.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see when you stand up and the teacher asks you what you want to be, is a choice at the time. But
yeah.
you never saw the circumstances coming. So it is a good thing that you mentioned the circumstances where in the situation that we need luck or something like that.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, Doc? Bakay di sa kweyol. Well, do tout ay l'école like yo ti chama de nou. Dubot et puis qui ça ou vle faire et bien qui ça ou vle pour l'état là.
Qui l'état ou vle faire
Oui, qui l'état ou vle faire et bien qui occupation ou vle faire là ou profiter.
Là vinn gwa.
Oui, là vinn gwa, là profiter, là vinn gwa, oui. Et puis tout le monde dit à bagay qui yo vle qui fait qui bon ko docteur nurse juge mais allez ça là
avocat
nous là avocat merci mais là chay moun là où nous aujourd'hui yo pas te ouais ça va venir chay moun qui là où nous ka fou ka marcher si yo te dit yo ka payer yo pour aller marcher là où il y a tous les jours si yo paye
non
mais yo là aujourd'hui So that's the facts and reality about life. If
That's
somebody
right.
tell you, or tell them rather, I'm paying you to walk the streets every day and walk in the sun and talk to the sun, would they do it? No. Far-fetched? No. But there are a lot of people on our streets as we speak. I mean, it's going on every day. And it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. But it's just the reality. So sometimes, as you said, Doc, circumstances, and you need some luck.
That's right.
Ok? So, à l'aise là, de là on est pour une chance, et puis c'est moun de là où fait un chaitan, et puis c'est gens là ou pas qui gens, si c'est fumé, si c'est boire ou pas boire, à l'aise là, de là ou pas fort que yo même, puisque au katan maman qui dit comme ça, maman qui dit comme ça, il fume marijuana et que met un bagage dans le bali, so à l'aise là, l'idée, et bien c'est vers la partie fort, c'est pour coller les autres là. À chom là, yo ka fou. Et puis à l'aise là il pas continuer il passe à côté de l'école et puis il pour mener au côté quoi qui rehab a dit d'un côté moun ka fou wek ped. So à l'aise ça là, si j'ai ça là, c'est un bon sujet, mais ou pas toi payer j'ai moun ka cuyer puisque ça qui fait la délai même, yo même pas ça. Fait yo pareil honnête et koyo et dit comme ça yo même ouais qui là c'était bail yo et c'était à l'aise ça yo pas ça qui est pour dire exactement comprendre qui manière la vie yo réfléchir et ben qui manière yo réfléchir à sous la vie en monde puisque ça qui fait la délai c'est moun que gens là a jamais mandé moi assis moi-même voulais faire millionnaire ben venir riche et puis moi dit comme ça non moi si on a tout ça ou peut regarder moun ça là sous regarder moun ça qui bah oui il m'a dit moi si moi voulais venir riche moi dit non moi dit comme ça moi voulais ni assez moi ça c'est pour te comme la famille moi et qui moi he asked me if I want to be rich when I grow up or I want to be rich in life and I tell him not really I just want to have enough to sustain my family and myself and he said to me it's good to be rich so that you have a title people will respect you and you could do whatever you like to do positively and I get that.
Okay.
So I was so happy at least he shared that with me. Thank you so much.
Okay, well,
thank you, Anthony.
For sharing with me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good contribution.
That's good. That's good contribution. So
you have 3 minutes, Doc.
Okay. As I said, now even speaking to the last caller, there is always an opportunity to make changes. As long as you have life in you, there is hope. You just have to want to make, if situation befall you where you're not where you're supposed to be or where you want to be, there's always an opportunity to rethink it out and make the decision. And basically, coming to what the caller was saying, that when you are young and they ask you what you want to be, the answer you give is basically a very theoretical one based on a wish, based on your personality, how you see yourself, your perception of yourself. You see yourself as wanting to do something important or be important, so you choose a profession in that area. But the reality, to achieve that, the journey you have to take is one whereby you keep focused on it and make the decision that will take you there. Now, most of these people fell by the wayside because they were not strong enough to hold on to that decision, and opportunity may not have presented itself. Because remember also, you can create opportunity by you yourself being passionate, determined, and focused on it. And so opportunity will not come crashing at you. You have to make a démarche yourself to make it happen. Because most of us who have become who have been trained and who have developed a skill, we have done that by being very focused, by staying in the straight and narrow road until we get where we are going. It didn't happen by accident. And that's why personalities differ. The stronger personalities will pursue, and those who want the easier life may just fall by the wayside.
Yes.
So I think
and don't forget the role of, as we said a while ago, luck or the lack thereof.
Yeah,
because that
right.
does play its part.
Yeah.
Because even if you're focused and you're determined, bad luck will come your way. I mean, it's just a fact of life.
And with bad luck, I'll take 10 seconds,
Sure.
15 seconds. With bad luck, what you're looking at is never believe that failure is a negative thing.
That's right.
You must embrace failure, because failure is telling you where you are not strong. And don't see failure as a defeat. See it as an opportunity to see your weakness and correct it and work on it. And that's what determination does. You have to be determined. You have to be focused. You have to embrace failure. And see failure positively, so that you can go where you're going to go. It's never a nice and smooth road. If it was, everybody would have been there.
Exactly. And I think, as you said there, the difference is those who just give up. You get the bad luck. It hits you once, it hits you twice, sometimes even a third time. I always remember the story of Colonel Saunders. Colonel Saunders. I mean, great story.
that he had the recipe for KFC. He had the recipe. He didn't want to. He didn't see the potential that he had in his brain, in his head. Okay. So he wanted to sell it, and he tried to sell it, and nobody would buy it. So he decided to go to a bank to get a loan. And the story is that he went to over 80 banks, 80 banks, before one said, "Okay, we'll take a chance on you," and the rest is history. So that's 80 bad lucks.
Yeah. No. Let me give you another story. I must tell you that.
Of course.
And that is the light bulb that you switch on and off regularly and predictably to give you light. You may take it for granted, but that was invented by a man called Mr. Edison. Mr. Edison had carried 2,000 experiments for the light bulb to light. It kept on bursting, it never light. So obviously a radio personality or an investigative journalist came to him and was interviewing him and said, "Mr. Edison, is it not meant that we were not meant to be lit by a light, and maybe we were meant to lit by a candle? There you are, having done 2,000 experiments, and you still have not produced a light." He said, "My son, it is true I have done 2,000 experiments. I consider that I have gone 2,000 steps closer to making that light work. And this is a light we take for granted." It just goes to show you determination and stickability. Sometimes we have to have that to get through in life.
Yes.
So I hope that the listeners enjoyed it and learned something from it.
Yes.
But whatever it is, I am happy that I was able to discuss that with you today. And next week, same time, we'll be there again. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Surage, and especially thank you for your service. We certainly do appreciate that at Rev-Up St. Lucia, no doubt the listening public as well. Thank you very much. Right, you've been listening to and viewing on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X, Doctor in the House, heard exclusively on Rev-Up St. Lucia every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. with Dr. Leonard Surage. So to join us again next week, same time, same station, for another Doctor in the House, brought to you with the compliments of La Place Salaison and Tapio Hospital.
At Tapio Hospital, caring and competent obstetric consultants will see you safely from prenatal care through delivery with a team of excellent pediatric and anesthetic support. Tapio Hospital, where the patient safety comes first.